Oh, hello everyone. I'm going to be doing a video and try to be as quick about it as I can be because there's always seem to be some type of interference when it comes to getting some very valuable information out that people benefit significantly from. Um, One of the things I'm going to talk about right off the bat, so you know, that I am a death experiencer. October 1992, I was battling a fatal tumor and dealing with some very satanic, medically licensed people. Yes, there is such as exists as Medicine 666. Now, um, also in it, I was shown a lot about the advanced technology because now this is 92, and I was shown things that I had no idea about the technology existing in any way. And I was also given some certain abilities too, which I did object to because I felt strongly that it would absolutely make me very targeted, especially by religions that we have here, because religions aren't exactly our friends. Religions are what has come out of certain groups of people who will go into cultures and take spiritual knowledge and teaching and they will rework it, then reintroduce their so-called Bibles into the culture, setting up Sunday school teachers who are to teach the new ways. And you can understand that what they're up to, why they're doing this in the passage that says, "Raise a child up in the way that they shall go, and they'll never part from them." Yeah, yeah. The programming is very deep, and it is very hard to undo that type of programming, especially when they use technology that can make you feel like you're having a spiritual experience or God is talking to you, and yeah, they can make it to where that you'll die fighting for those beliefs because you just know because the experience you had. It's very hard to discern what is man-made because it they've even were able to do it to me, and it took me a long time to be able to get that out of me to undo so much of it. And actually, if it wasn't for such brutal treatment by the religions, I probably would not have come to know what I know and help people out with it. Um, if you kind of have a little bit of difficulty understanding what I am saying, just put it down, put the question down in the comment section, and I will respond. Um, because that the knowledge that I have, the abilities that I've had, and how I use them for good and helping others, that I've had some very terrible things done to me, and it's destroying my health has been their biggest target, and is with all of us because they want to make money off of us or silence us. I have two considerable scars right here. I went in that I was supposed to have a small tumor removed. I woke up with this, and it has caused damage, nerve damage, muscle damage. So it's another one that I struggle with. So please be understanding about that. Do not be cruel in any way because this has happened because that of what I have done to help free people, heal people. I was in medicine before, right before my fatal tumor showed up, and I have never believed that medicine is a privileged information. And I have, because I have learned or discovered how to make people that are lamed cannot get around, do things because of arthritis, that they'll follow my directions. In 3 days, they're doing pretty much whatever they feel big enough to do. And I have some people in the medical fields and pharmaceuticals that do not like what I have done. Yeah, basically, it's meant to where I can't go to anybody because I've had them. I've had doctors absolutely try to kill me, and they came close. They came close. One did kill me. That's how I had my death experience. But I'm not going to go too much into that. Let's get on to what I really want to talk to you about to get out, and that is talking about spiritual warfare. We hear this term, but do you ever hear any type of teachings about it? What is it? How do you fight? Spiritual warfare, well, that's battle. Well, what are the weapons? What can you use? How is it fought? What does the adversary look like? Well, let's get into it. First, know who you are. Around 1980, a prophecy was being fulfilled, and it was this: that around that time, that there would begin an inundation into this world by higher gifted, more intelligent, exceptionally creative beings. And of course, you know that the adversaries, they can read prophecies, all this other stuff. And so they began the implants, the chipping. And so when a child is born in the hospital, they take the baby outside, and they're going to get the child all cleaned up, and come back in with these cute little bonnets, a cute little outfit. Well, yeah, your baby now has just been chipped, and now that child is going to be in servitude to those who have positioned themselves to running things. And we are their source of money. It's all about money. Money and power, positions of power. And so through that implants, now one of the things that's known about them is that they can cause multiple tumor syndromes. One of the things that is interesting about especially craniotomies is that people who were not smokers, all of a sudden after the surgery, they are smokers. I was one of those people. I was very athletic, took excellent care of my body. And before I got discharged from the hospital and I had the very first surgery fighting the tumor, I craved cigarettes and I couldn't deny it. And I fought to not have it. And it was so powerful. And I would talk with doctors. Why? Why did that happen? Why is it that I went in as a non-smoker and I came out of surgery as a smoker? Now, I don't know. I don't know. Well, I learned down the years why. Because with implants, they do cause multiple tumors in the body. Whether you are human or with your pets, it's going to be the same thing. And to help combat that amount of tumors, you are given that addiction because it will shrink up blood vessels. It causes them to contract. It will keep tumors from being able to have such a rich, bountiful resource of capillaries, blood vessels. That's why. Along with, of course, the obvious, that of controlling. In the Bible also, they talk about, in the Christian Bible, and I think some other ones do, talk about the devil whispering in your ear, Well, that sounds like voice to skull technology to me, doesn't it, you? Yeah. And so this technology that they have, it is electromagnetic energy. And that's very important to understand that it's electromagnetic energy. And the greatest importance to understand this is that you, we, as soul, and in our bodies is electromagnetic energy. That's how that they are able to manipulate us and put thoughts in our heads and make us experience things that really are not happening, to get us to do things. And they use that technology, in campaigns, running who's ever ready for president or whatever. Hitler used it as well. And so we know that this exists. And now then, how do we fight that technology? It's electromagnetic energy. Evil cannot create anything new. That's what we've been told, right? Cannot create anything new. It can only replicate what is. And so I know there are many of you, the majority of you, who have need to get someplace, and there is a signal light that you've got to go through, and you really need that signal light to either stay green till you get through it, or by the time that you get to that site, to that signal, that it turns green. And it did exactly what you wanted. And or, as that I have also done it, that I needed the next several lights to be green because I was really bound for time, and I had to get there by a specific time. And if I didn't, of course, that was going to be big problems. And so I've done that. And, there are these kinds of things that are constantly reaching to you to help you to understand you are more than your own understanding. And you need to start understanding who you are as soul. And I'm going to give you some very easy things for you to do that you can start working and seeing that how powerful that you are, because you are the generations that are to take us across the finish line where peace and harmony, all the balances come back. No more of this stuff that the way that they have been running us, running our diets. Because a lot of us that are A's and B's type blood, we're not supposed to be eating flesh. We do not have the chemistry to break that down and turn it into energy. Instead, it will make us very lethargic. It will make us sick. And they know all about this. Get the book called Eat Right for Your Type. That's your blood type. Dr. Peter Adamo and Catherine Whitney, that is a book that's very true. If you'll follow that, you'll find yourself becoming very well. Lots of energy, weight coming off of you, etc. Okay, that's part of the spiritual warfare battle, is that them leading you to believe that, oh, yeah, tomatoes are very healthy for you. Well, not for type A's, they're not. Well, bananas, lots of potassium, they're very good for you. Type A's, they're not. Well, beef, you need the protein and etc. Not for type A's and B's. So anyway, now let's get into the laws. Because you know that when you've been able to affect things electronically, or that signal lights, or that if you're driving or walking along, it seems like lights will turn off, straight lights will turn off until you get by. There's a lot of things that comes about that you have done, and you kind of went, well, let's take it a little further. Because one thing I want I'm going to say this right quick about the implants. You can hijack these implants. One of the things that I would do, and I have done, highly recommend, is getting the neodymium magnets. Those are very, very powerful magnets. And you can get a stud locator and scan your body, and you can find where these implants are and tape these very powerful magnets to where that implant is, and you can take them out. And at the same time, you can also decide that you're going to take charge over them and that they will do what you want them to do. Instead of putting out signals that destroy your body, now you will, in your mind, you're gonna change the energy, because what you think is what manifests. And so in your mind, you're telling that implant that it's going to help create stem cells. It is going to help create the repairing of your system, of your body. Okay, now I want to get to the most important part. There is one law, spiritual law, that you need to know so you can fight. You can win these spiritual battles, you can come up against them, and this is it. It goes like this. When somebody has harmed you, wounded you, and they have done this without you provoking them, you've done nothing to them for them to do this to you, then, according to the spiritual laws, you can request to have done to them what you believe, you feel, will heal that woundedness, what they have done to you. And that can be continued on for however long that you see fit to. Because now, understand, everybody knows right from wrong. When a person decides to do such things to you, or be a part of the gang stalking to target individuals and etc., all this attacking on pure souls, that they have already made the decision for us. They decided that they were willing to take whatever the consequences was, so they're going to do this. And there are those who don't want to sit there and think or believe that, oh yeah, you're going to be able to come into my home without coming to my home. Sit where you're sitting at in your home, and you're going to be able to come into my home and do it. Nah, that's craziness. No, that can't happen. No, you can't say anything, speak anything to me, or I'm not. There's no consequences to this. Yeah, that's what they want to keep believing, because they don't want to admit the true reality. It's too scary for them. But it's good to make them understand it. And so they have made their decision. And I've had them do something to me. All right. You have just made my decision on what I must do to make you return what you have either stolen, to make you understand what you have done to me, and to or make people back off of me. When I've had gang stalking going on, I will strike their health. X amount of days, they are going to be too sick to get out of bed. And there are people that are forced into this role as well. Take this into consideration, that they are tired of it and they want out. And so by striking their health, they can't do anything. They're no good to these people right now. And it actually has allowed them the opportunity to get away from those controllers. But those are not always, those are a few. There are many that we know that have exposed that they are even paid to get into relationships with us. And the more problems that they cause, the more money they make. Okay. The spiritual laws state that whatever they do to harm you, to labor you, you can strike their life back. What do you want it to cost them? You have a right. That is your right. And this isn't something that anybody could do. You have to be a pure soul. You have to be somebody who doesn't do these things. You're against this type of harming of anything. Pure souls don't want the environment harmed. Pure souls don't want animals harmed. They don't want children harmed. They don't want anybody being harmed. But we're also now, and I agree with that, but now we also have to take into consideration we are in spiritual warfare. And so we must go after those. We must make these who are doing this, they're going to have to pay for it. And you can not only strike their health, but you can also have it to where that whatever blessings that they were to have now belong to you. Any social successes now is your social success. It's financial, even health wise, their health. Now you have their health, and your ill health is now their health. You can make them suffer. Because remember now that whatever that is done to you, the way that the laws, the spiritual law is that it shall be done to them, only it is to be increased. And there is a formula to use. And then there's two types that you can use. You can use them both together, or you can use one or the other. It's up to you. Doesn't matter. And that is the first one that we know about is the 7 times 77 times 777. Okay, that 7 number is a God number. Okay, now I will use that number, and then I will use my life number. And how do you know your life number? It's the simplest way to know it and do it. Some people say it's the entire date numbers of your day that you're born, but what I've seen is common. It always ends up that if you take the last two numbers in the year that you're born, then add those two. That's your life number. For example, if you were born in 71 or like 1980, the last two numbers, 80, your life number is 8. 71, your life number is 8. In any of this, 29, your life number is 11. Okay, or 92, etc. So, say I was born 1980, so 8 is my number. So I would say after the 7 times 77, so on, I would add, because this is mine. I am the one that they have done this to. So it is me, my authority, my position of who I am. Now I'm putting my will, the spiritual laws upon them. And so I would say 8 times 88 times 888. Yes, it works. Yes, it works. Now, let's talk about this going by your home. When you step outside your home, that all of a sudden traffic is going up and down, up and down. Yeah, it could be dead quiet. No traffic whatsoever on your residential street. But the minute you step out, all of a sudden there's all kinds of traffic going on. And you know what's going on. It's to harass you. Yeah, they know when you step outside, they're watching you. Yeah, they're watching you. Yeah. All right. Okay, you want to do it that way? So I get a bucket of water. Now I'm a pure soul. That means I'm a powerful soul. And it means also that Now, one of the things that they want you to believe is that saying that we are sent like sheep into slaughter. That's another Illuminati MK Ultra lie. No, we're not. Think about if you were a leader, commander, and you got these platoons and you got a battle. Would you send those soldiers in without weapons of any kind to defend themselves? You just going to put a uniform on them and go in there and good luck to you? No, no, you wouldn't. Neither would we come into this world not being armed. How ludicrous. We are fully armed. It's our soul. Our soul is the power. Christ said, I come to heal and to destroy. There's a big key. He just told you. The same energy that I use of myself to heal, I use to defend, to fight with, to take down. You betcha. There you go. And don't sit there and fall for that, the lines that they say that you should forgive your enemies, that it's not healthy for you to hold grudges. It's going to end up in health problems. No, that's just another of their lies trying to get out of being held accountable. They're the ones that also created the saying that, oh, I wouldn't wish this upon my worst enemy. No, no. I want to wish this upon my worst enemy. You bet. My worst enemy is responsible for the suffering that I'm enduring, or my loved ones, or the stealing of my property or damaging my property. Yes, I would. And so, and also like in the Lord's Prayer when it says, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Remove that line. That's a bunch of crock. We're not supposed to sit there and be buddy buddies with our enemies. We are told to remove them. You don't allow evil to get a position among you in your community. You're to drive it out. Otherwise, it takes root and the corruption gets worse and worse, and they become greater in numbers. And this is how they've defeated us, because they want you thinking that your ability to know something before it happens, or that you're able to see beings or angels or talk to God or Christ, etc. Larry Tomlin once said, "Why is it that when we talk to God, we call it prayer, but when God answers back, we call it schizophrenia?" Touche, Lily. Okay? So the brain is always telling you that this can't be so, it can't be so. Of course, that's them. They don't want you believing that your soul can do these kinds of things, because it would mean you becoming empowered and you become strong, and they are going to be defeated. So take you a bucket of water, anoint it by saying that by the power invested in me, I bless this water for it to do as I deem it to do. Now, what I like to do is go to the left side of the street and pour it across the street to the right side where my place is. And I put with it, when I do this, that I will say that those who do evil, those who seek to harm, harass, burden, labor, to do anything that is opposite of good, they who cross this judgment is now going with them. And what they have done to me, it shall be upon them, only it is to be ever so increasingly. And then end it with, so shall it be, so shall it be, so shall it always be. It works, people. It works. I have I've had stalkers and harassers that have been moved in around me. And, at that time, this has been several years ago. I wouldn't use my abilities in this manner, but I was down in the trenches. They were burning me severely with their direct energy weapons. My back, I've got video pictures of my back being burned, my ears being burned, including my hands. And I was, every 2 nights, I was sleeping in a different place in my townhome. I got an air mattress so that I would be able to air it up, get where I need to be there 2, maybe I get 3 days, then I'd have to move it and move it. And it was either that I learn how to fight, use my abilities to fight with, or I'm going to die very, very horrifically. And would this be allowed to go on? Maybe this is what they're trying to tell me, what the angels, goddamn, are trying to get through to me, that we are to use our abilities. And all right, absolutely, whatever it takes to get them off of me, the way that they were torturing my pets, killing my pets, hanging them, cutting them up, hanging on to them for about a week, and then put them at my door, and the infection, the rotting. All right. And so I went over to the vehicle, and I told that vehicle, you're not starting for 3 days. And I gave the reason why, that your owner is not a good owner. Your owner is doing very terrible things to someone who is very merciful, very loving, and very helpful. And because I am, that's why I'm being attacked. You don't start for 3 days. That was the first time that I did anything like that. And sure enough, for 3 days, that car didn't start. And I just happened to be looking out my window, and I seen him get into the car on the fourth morning. That thing started right up. Really? Really? Okay. What else can I do? Remember that what they do to you, you can send back on them, and you can demand it to be increased. It is whatever you decide it to be for them. So you're at a checkout, and then you get up there, it's your time to check out. All of a sudden, the cash register, something's gone wrong with the cash register. You ever notice how it seems like that when it's your time to be up there with that cash register, that suddenly that it's not working? Well, just reach up and touch it. Have it in your mind thought. You are going to line out. I break this this beam that is interfering. I break that, because that's what they're doing. They're hitting that register with electromagnetic energy to get it to malfunction. Or even sit there and go, in the name of Jesus or Allah, whoever, I heal you, and it starts working fine. Now, these direct energy beams, think about tubes of light. Now, I have seen these, and I've seen them that they've got a hook on the end, and they hook into people. And now, let's get that unhooked from you. Let's get rid of those. When I work, I can work on somebody from where I'm at right now. Doesn't matter where they're at, as long as I've got a connection. That can be through the computer, email, telephone. Once a connection has been established, I can sit there and work on them, heal them. I can even go into their homes. And I don't necessarily need a connection to go into their homes where I'm at. I can do that at any time. And you'll come to know how to do that. But let's get the basics down, okay? And so, think about that tube of light. Through that tube of light, you can send back to them what they just hooked you with, what they're doing to you. And you can have it where strike their computer. All of a sudden, that computer is having problems. Burn the motherboard up. All you have to do now, you got to think what you want done. Okay, they're hitting me. They're causing me a lot of pain. A lot of pain. So I'm going to send that right back up through that tube of light. It's going to go through that computer, and that computer is going to go down. But first, it's going to go to the one who is operating it and hitting me with that. And from that person, it goes to the person who told them to do it, their supervisor. And what do you want done? What do you want done to them? What do you want to have taken away from them? It is up to you. They knew that when they're sitting there doing this, hurting people, that there's a consequences to it. They don't want you knowing it, but now you know it. That consequence is now whatever I deem so. And if it's bad enough, you can lay claims to that, so to their soul. And you can sit there and say that in my next however many lifetimes I want, that they will labor for me. They will see to my luxury, to my easement. I will not have to labor. They will labor for me. And I'm talking about especially those who sit there and make attempts on your life. And I don't have any qualms about doing that. You are going to do something like that. I will own your soul for it. I don't have a problem. You gave it to me. Don't have mercy on these people, folks. That's a sign of weakness with them. Don't forgive them until they come to you to make amends. If they are genuine in it, then yes, you release them. You come to agreements. Because I don't sit there and play this game with that they want me to do that. Well, you're supposed to forgive them. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Especially when I sit there, not only what they do to me, but to suffer my loved ones or to damage my property. No, no, I'm not. I'm going to make sure that they pay for it because evidently they haven't gotten the lessons well enough. You don't do something like that. You will pay to do. When you do something like that, you will pay for it. And let's do it in the sense that it is so engraved onto your soul that any other lifetimes that you ever live, that it will be natural unto you that you can't do it. There's a soul memory there that makes you very afraid not to do it. No, that's against the law. That's against a spiritual law. Now, I want to tell you about something else that I had. I want to tell you about some other things right quick. So I want to try to do this as quick as I can because to get you established. So, all right, let's hurry up and go on to this. I want you to understand this. Now, in engineering, I used to be an industrial, commercial, residential electrician. Right angles are known to create energy, naturally create energy. This is why that you see in paranormal activities, investigations, why that closets and pantries seem to always be the most active areas. Okay, you do not want to put your bed up against a corner. And also, you really don't want it under a window either. Okay. Now, just a second. I gotta pause this for just a second. I'll be right back. Okay. Okay. I was getting hit. Anytime that you lose your train of thought, that right there shows you that they're hitting you. They do not want you doing what you're doing or talking about what you're talking about. So when you lose your train of thought, you're being hit. And if you walk into a room after something, you can't remember why you went in there, just step back into another room. You'll remember, go back in there. This is what they do. And so, okay, this is also why that how interdimensional beings come through. They'll come through these right angles. That's why that you hear people talk about places that they have journeyed to, where they were taken in a spacecraft, a flying craft, whatever, or that they were taken by soul to a place, and you hear them talk about that structures are round. They're round for very good reasons. That's how you keep things from being able to enter in, because right angles naturally create energy. When you have that energy source, especially when you got a blocked home, that makes a home, a structure, even more of a portal. Okay? So now, these beings that come through, I want to talk to you about the Minotaurs. Minotaurs are real. I didn't think they were. I thought maybe they were just something that back in ancient times, that they thought of, created, but I found out differently. And this townhouse where I was living at, I was having constant home invasions, and I was battling for this community to save their hospital, and also battling a group of predatory pedophiles, and I was very shocked to find out that how high up the ladder that such goes. And so um, I had a minotaur come in, and how I know it was a minotaur is because it would come up behind me and sound just exactly the way that a bull will sit there and huff and gruff and even snort, especially like when they're letting you know they're fixing to go on the attack. And I had a visional dream that showed me. I'm going to tell you about this because I want this to help you. I was standing on this bank, and before me was a large body of water. And all of a sudden, I seen this giant hand come out of the sky, and it was literally cupped. And I just had this sense awareness of this is God's hand. And so I went over, and I was sitting on the edge of his hand with my legs hanging over the edge, and all of a sudden, all these carnivorous animals were coming up out of the water after me, and the hand would started moving. And they were crocodiles, alligators, they were all kinds of the eating animals. And no matter how fast and how hard they ran to catch me, they could never catch up to us. And it wasn't not too long later, a few days later, that I had gone to the mailbox, this where I lived at, and here's all this broken glass. There's family, there's kids there, and I always pick up the broken glass. I don't, obvious reasons. And so, what do I feel? What's behind me now? And nearly this minotaur is so I could feel the energy and the hatred of me, and the snorting of its nostrils. The air was literally blowing my hair. My hair was a little bit longer. And I could tell that how this thing wanted me dead, harmed, etc. And I said to it, "You're not allowed to touch me. You don't have that permission to touch me." And I heard this thing scream just like a bull does. And there's a way a bull screams, there's no sound like it. And actually, you can say, now this is what your angels will do. Because there is this law that goes that when a person, a good person, a pure soul person will have many troubles, but there will be provided a way out with every one of them. And that whatever bad has happened, we can make good come from it. And so I know that how these teachings go, that this is what they're going to do. Okay, we're going to make a teaching out of this. We're going to teach her how that she has authority over these beings. And so, when you know that you are a pure soul, and you know that what your abilities, what you can do, what the spiritual laws, because the Minotaur was an alien being. And aliens do have to abide by spiritual laws. And when I had talked about this some time ago, I started seeing people start posting this on YouTube and other sites that, well, they think that aliens are demonic beings because they are subjugated to the spiritual laws. Now, whether that's true or not, to a point, I agree with it. Are all alien beings demonic beings? No, they're not. But you will know which ones are which. Okay, so now, with this knowledge that I've given you, you start working on it. You can use it. Watch, test it. You'll see. You'll see that they start backing off of you and know it's your place. Now, that's one thing to do. Now, right quick, now know that this direct energy, it has the ability to move objects. And so it can lead people to believe that your home is haunted, this is a evil spirit doing this. No, it's not. The majority of the time when I see that type of activity, what they call poltergeist, I I am a master level. I will read it. No, that's direct energy. They're just messing with you. They want you to believe in the boogeyman more, and you can't come against that. You could sit there and bind that up, bind that energy up. You can, and if you're dealing with, and also you can rebuke that energy because that electromagnetic energy is subjugated to the electromagnetic energy of the soul, of spiritual laws. It's all about energy. And when you know the laws, you can dictate energy. And as I said, this is the reason why that, they can't do like what we can do. They have to build in the physical what we can do merely in the spiritual. Now, for example, okay, right quick, these planes that are going over and doing all these chemtrailings. Well, I tested it one time where I focused on a mechanism that got the lines clogged up. And all of a sudden, right in the middle of the spraying, it stopped. And seen that plane turn around and head back to where it came from. Did it more than once to make sure, because actually there's no such thing as a coincidence. There's not. There's no such thing as a coincidence. People want to tell you that because they don't want you figuring out that you're powerful, that you can do that. I had a friend that, this is back in the late 80s, very, very dear friend. He was telling me about his car that was times, that it wouldn't start. He's having problems with it, and he would sit there and pray over the engine and get in the car, and it started right up. I understand that even more nowadays. That's our power. They hate us because they have to build in the physical what we can do merely in the spiritual. We have authority over it. You are to take authority over it. This is spiritual warfare. You can take down what their equipment. You can affect their life. You can defeat them. You can even stop a tornado. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. We are the pure souls. This planet belongs to us. You know who is a pure soul because they're the ones doing the damage. They're not allowed. They're not supposed to be allowed to do that. You go after them. You stop that that weather that they're bombing people. Stop the fires. You can do that. All you have to do is speak against it. Put your mind, put that soul energy against it. Do you need rain? Or let's say that they're hitting you with a tremendous amount of water. And it's reaching a point that if it doesn't stop or get moved on, flooding is going to happen. People and property are very much at stake. Well, you can pray for it to move on and go to areas that need it to. Yes, you can. Try it. Don't take my word for it. Try it. Let's say that you need rain. Get a map out. Get a weather map out. Where do you see the moisture at? We'll ask it to come down. Follow this path right here to us. What do you need? They have this technology. They have the technology to alter the weather. Well, it's the same way as altering that cash register that suddenly isn't working right when you get there, but if you talk to it or touch it, suddenly it's working just fine. Okay? All right. I see that this is 53 minutes. This is a lot longer than what I intended to be, but I got some basics down for you all. And also, what's so fascinating about these stones? Christ gave an indication about stones, and it's put in the Christian Bible in a way that if you're not with a certain group of people or you don't happen to have come across the information, Christ said that, I tell you the truth, if man does not praise me, the stones surely will. What he just said is this. Scientists know that you can take crystals and whatever you put it with, they're magnifiers. They're also a living intelligence. They're called the God stones. I was shown about crystals during my death experience. I tried to learn about them when I was growing up, but I was never permitted to. Every time that I tried to learn about stones and I wanted to go into that field, but I always was kept from it. And I knew that one day I would understand it. Well, in my death experience, the place that I was at, I was standing in front of these monolithic crystals, and I knew exactly what they were, who they were, what they could do. And they're called the Godstone because you can break them away from the family and they will maintain their energy. You can take two quartz crystals, go into a dark room, strike them together, and you'll see electricity shoot inside of them. Now, don't do it with you've got crystals that are clear, they have no marks in them. I don't suggest using them because the pathway that the electricity will take, it scars them. Okay, so they know this. And what they put, anything that when they use this, they call them oscillators because they'll vibrate. They magnify energy. Get you a crystal, put it on a string long enough that it goes over your heart, stand in front of the mirror, put it on, take it off. Try to get one that I'd say about, maybe so big, maybe a couple inches by a quarter inch diameter, get a pretty good size because you're going to want to see this and understand this. Put it on, take it off. Watch yourself in the mirror. You will see that when you put it on, you look brighter. Even your eyes will look brighter. Take it off, you'll look dimmer. Put it on, look brighter. Well, if you leave it on, that's energy. It's magnifying your energy. And you can do more with it. You can tape them to your body. Do what you need to do, and then when you're done with whatever you're having to do, take them off, and at nighttime, and you're ready to relax and go to bed. Don't wear them when you go to bed because they increase your energy, and you're going to have a hard time sleeping, okay? And these will help you to be able to use your abilities. And it will come to a point where you'll master them so well that you won't need these to do what you can do. And you can even learn that you can release enough energy that you can affect a person very profoundly. And I don't talk about a certain ability online. I will only do that in person because that's something that doesn't should be very carefully given because that ability, it's a very powerful one. I'll just leave it at that. Okay. And so I'm going to end this because this has already been very long. I'm about right at an hour, but I am not able to get online and do as much as I used to. I got hit back in June of 2019, and I've ended up with two broken bones, dislocated elbow, and a messed up wrist. And I had a doctor who wanted to go in there and put a steel um, joint in. And thank God that I have a background in medicine and radiology because looking at the films, there was a bone that the reason why it broke was that there was a tumor. And if I had allowed him to put that joint in, because the way that they put joints in, they take a hammer and they put that point of that shaft of that joint to the center of the bone and then they hammer it in. And so I could have ended up with that bone being shattered, and even to the point that one of the things that broken bones are notorious about doing, and that is releasing a fat embolism. And I could have also ended up with that doing so much damage that I could lose the arm to amputation. It's amazing what what they are so willing to do. And when I think about all the people out there that don't have this medical knowledge, that what they've done and how they're making them suffer. And that's why that I share my knowledge about medicine to protect people. And here's one right quick. Pregnant women, if you are not having any problems with your baby, do not do ultrasounds or sonograms. Do not do it unless there is a problem. When that wand is put over your tummy, and the tech will talk about the baby becoming active, doesn't want to be seen, that baby is trying to get out out of the way of that direct energy. It is painful, it does damage, it causes birth defects, yes. And man, they don't like me talking about that. Or that CAT scans when the MRIs came out, the CAT scans should have been tossed to the dumps. Radiologists, doctors of radiology, everyone that I talked with, because I was in radiology when MRIs came out and available, and it was my base hospital that got one of the first MRIs in that city. And so it's so sensitive, the MRI can pick up a problem before it's had time to develop symptoms. But anyway, especially when it comes to the head, you don't want CTs, you want MRIs. MRIs miss more things. And anyway, I'm going to stop there. I hope that you all are able to take these fundamentals and be able to use your abilities and understand that who you are and why you're here, and do not do not fall for the things that pit us against each other, because that's MK Ultra. You know, that's these people who want us to hurt each other, and they want us they want our families destroyed. You know, get away from even the thinking that women are the weaker sex. You know, that's ludicrous. Women are no more the weaker gender than men are. And don't fall for this stuff about how that, that is supposed to be a man's world. And no, 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 it doesn't belong to one person, to one gender. Don't let somebody tell you how to be in a relationship. They destroyed my marriage that way. Be a helpmate to each other. Love each other. It's your relationship. It doesn't belong to the church. It doesn't belong to anybody but you two. So anyway, I do hope that you all are able to rise above this. Use your abilities. Get the book Second Sight by Judith Orloff. Also, Life Colors by Pamela Osley. I highly recommend James Redfield's book, The Celestine Prophecy. That will help you to understand why situations arrive the way that they do when they do. These things will help you develop yourself. And also, get the book, The Dictionary of Angels by Gustav Davidson. I will put this down in the description. Get these books, read them, develop your abilities. Judith explains about the abilities, what they are, what they mean. A very excellent, excellent book. And so, namaste, brothers and sisters. Take care of yourself and each other. Let's join together. We're pure souls. We're here to help each other. We're here to help out. Save this planet from being destroyed. You can affect the weather. Just try it. Like I said, find out for yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. Try it. You'll see. You'll see. Much love to y'all.